Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This is for you, Boyd. Oh, sorry. That's right. We need to have a vote. Any discussion to be had?
No.
Okay. Is all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Okay. So now we're adding a resolution. This is for you, Boyd. This is a resolution honoring the service of Boyd Veal to the town of Signal Mountain upon his retirement. Whereas Mr. Boyd Veal began his service as Signal Mountain Town Manager on March 1st, 2014, and will retire from the town of Signal Mountain on December 3rd, 2021. And whereas Mr. Veal served the town of Signal Mountain for a total of 29 years, first in the police department, including service as police chief from 2004 until 2014, when he became town manager. And whereas Mr. Veal has been a committed and dedicated public servant and has worked tirelessly and cooperatively to promote the well-being of the citizens of the town of Signal Mountain. And whereas Mr. Veal has been involved in numerous initiatives of great importance to the town of Signal Mountain and has served in his role as town manager with professionalism, ingenuity, integrity, humility, and compassion. And whereas the town of Signal Mountain wishes to recognize Mr. Veal for his dedication and excellent service to the citizens of the town of Signal Mountain and express appreciation for his work. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Signal Mountain Town Council hereby honors Boyd Veal for his long and distinguished career in local government in the great state of Tennessee and for his commitment, dedication, and leadership to the town of Signal Mountain. The town of Signal Mountain hereby expresses its appreciation for his service to our community and wishes him a healthy and fulfilling retirement.
Thank you very much.
We have one thing to go with it.
Yeah, we do. And
This is something that you need to go and put on your desk so you can
Well,
remember all of the,
Well, I still have a desk.
well, you still have a desk at your home office.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Here it is. Ready?
yeah, it is beautiful.
In recognition for 33 years of dedication and selfless commitment to the town of Signal Mountain and its citizens, we wish you a happy and healthy and fun retirement.
Mostly fun.
Thank you very much. It has been an honor. Please. I really appreciate not only this, but the reception earlier, and it has truly been an honor and a privilege to serve in every capacity that I have. I will miss it on occasion.
Well, we appreciate all that you've done for the town and for us too as town council members. So
Maybe
thank
after
you.
the meeting, we can stand right there and take a picture with
Yeah.
us and with your beautiful statue.
Should I make a motion
Yes.
to approve this? Like,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I want it to be official, so.
But thank you, yes. So, we read the resolution, do we have a motion?
No. I have no first.
You're not getting this back.
Okay, I'll make the first.
Okay. Motion to approve?
Who's the second?
Second.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we need any discussion?
It's
Thank
been
you,
a
Boyd,
pleasure.
Yes.
for your service.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you for breaking in so many rookies like you have.
That's right. All right, well, we have a motion and a second, so all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. All right, motion passes. All right, back to the other business. We have other resolutions that none of them are as important or fun as that one, but we'll read them anyway. The next resolution is a resolution authorizing the award of a contract to River City Fence for the removal, disposal, and replacement of damaged fence in the amount of $13,731. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second? Okay.
I'm sorry, who was second? Thank you.
All right. Any discussion? I don't remember the name of that young lady who came and talked to us about the tennis courts, but we'll say that this is in her honor.
Yes.
She did a good
Hampton.
job, and we've gotten at least a little bit of work done over there after that. So, all right, we've got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. All right. Motion passes. Next resolution, if I can find it. Okay, this is a resolution authorizing the town manager to purchase one Crafco Super Shot crack sealer from Crafco Inc. I thought I bought one of those for my kid when he was 11. The Crafco Super Shot by Crafco. Chandler, Arizona, through Sourcewell Purchasing Cooperative, contract 052417-CFC, for an amount not to exceed $75,000 to be used by the Public Works Department for the town of Signal Mountain. We have the contract and everything. Do we have any, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Any second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I would note on this, the amount of 75,000, you have the contract amount for the equipment itself, but the shipping cost is estimated, so we put a little extra in there just to make sure we covered that.
Okay,
The equipment cost is set by contract.
okay. And it looks like we're coming in under the plan slightly, so that's nice.
Yes.
All right, any discussion? Other discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. All right, that motion passes. Next motion is, or sorry, resolution is a resolution of the Signal Mountain Town Council authorizing additional funds in an amount not to exceed $10,000 for the contract with J&J Contractors for the construction of an addendum to the Signal Mountain Library, including all work detailed in the project specifications and engineered plans with the changes noted. Do we have a motion? to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right. Any discussion on this? I know we heard about it last meeting about adding flooring, wood flooring and vinyl tile instead of the carpet. It looks like this is all covered by donations. So there's not going to be any money out of the town's pocket.
No, additional funds will be donated to the town to cover the cost.
Yeah, nice. All right, any further discussion?
I think it's a great, going to be really, it's a really smart move. I think having wood floors instead of carpet with so many people going to be using the space is a very wise choice.
Yes.
Easier to clean.
Easier to clean, keep sanitized.
And I really appreciate the amount of work that the library board and the patrons of the library have done on making this a very doable project. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Even though it's not totally completed yet, you can see it.
It's beautiful.
It's amazing. It's a tree house for reading is basically what this looks like to me.
A
at
very
least.
comfortable treehouse.
So
Good job, Karen.
it's absolutely gorgeous. And I really appreciate all the hard work of the residents that put their time and effort into raising the funds.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No? All right. Next is a resolution adopting the Town of Signal Mountain Pay Scale by grade as attached hereto as the official pay scale of the Signal Mountain. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
We have a
Second.
Okay. Do we need any discussion on this? Had a lot of discussion. Do we need any more discussion?
No.
Okay. I know somebody wanted to talk about the amendment, which is the second motion or resolution, so we'll go ahead and vote on this, and then we can talk about that one. All in favor of this motion?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Okay. Before I read the next resolution, maybe we can have some discussion about, somebody wanted to table this, so if we need to talk about that, let's do that now before I read the resolution. And I don't know, I know Boyd sent an email saying someone wanted to table the motion so we can.
Yeah, that was my suggestion, and just simply, I want to learn about a lot more about it, but not necessarily prepared to vote on it tonight.
Okay.
Is my feeling. I don't know how y'all feel about it, but I want to learn more about it. I think there's probably a lot of great things here that we need to consider. But I think it's better if we take time to consider those, especially when they relate to pay scale changes. You know, those are pretty permanent when we make them. So
I think that's fair. I don't know that we've talked about this particular change in the pay scale. So it would be fair for us to talk about it a little bit. So do we have a motion to table? I
I'm
haven't
sorry,
read this.
could you
so-
go ahead and read the caption and then make whatever motions you want after that?
Okay, thank
Okay.
you. This is a resolution amending the official pay scale of the town of Signal Mountain. So do we have any motions?
I'll motion to table. I mean, I'm really, I'm not trying to, if y'all won't feel comfortable, then we should do it, but.
Why don't we
motion to
do a
table.
motion to approve? And
Okay.
then, do you want to do that? And then we can discuss it and then you
Well,
can.
then you have to vote on the
Yeah.
resolution.
Yeah,
Do-
that's true.
Okay, so you have a motion to table on the
Yeah,
table,
I'll
correct?
say motion
Okay,
to
so
table
is-
the resolution. That's my feeling.
Is there,
Are we doing this procedurally correctly?
I think if you pass a motion to table, then it is not necessarily set at a particular time. You could then make it a discussion item and then move to remove it, to bring it back to the next meeting.
Okay,
so,
The other thing to do would be to, somebody move to defer it to your next meeting.
Could we discuss it now? And then after the discussion, if we need to table it, could we do it at that time?
I'm sorry, I think you can discuss it now, yes.
I'm
So-
just thinking.
I guess part of my problem with the discussion right now is I don't have enough information to discuss this. If I had enough information to discuss it, I could probably make a decision on it. I would like to get a little bit more information before we have a discussion. Because, I mean, we're removing, a whole position, which might absolutely be what's needed. But without having,
I could mess this up, but my understanding is that there's people that are doing certain jobs now, and this is addressing kind of what they're doing. Is that right, Boyd?
Now, on these, we addressed those issues during the budget, and you approved kind of a realignment, reorganization in the fire department. So that's being addressed. This, when the pay study was done, we provided them information on all the positions that we currently had on the books, basically. And the firefighter 2 was one of those. But that position hasn't actually been utilized in several years. So it was just a matter of it was still on the books. And when they did the scale, it ended up on there. And we knew it was just something that needed to be cleaned up and addressed later. So we were taking this opportunity to do that. The main thing really is the captain's position has always been comparably scaled to the police department. The lower ranks vary some because of the different hours and such that the fire department works. But the administrative levels have always been the same, even back when the departments were the same size. Now the fire department is considerably larger than the police department. Thus, this administrative captain and training officer has a larger responsibility in the number of people that they're responsible for. And then through this process, it was dropped a grade. And that's one thing that we identified early on, it's something that we needed to address. But as you recall, I stated when we were going through this process, we tried not to influence what Steve gave us and just get what his initial recommendation was. Now, he also said that he understood that to some degree this would have to be tweaked to the town. A lot of the municipalities and counties that he used as benchmarks don't have fire departments. So there was less to draw from when it came to the fire department than there was for police or public works or anything else. So we have a department that's significantly larger than the other, and they've always been comparably scaled, and now they're not. Additionally, that position is now open. We had the person that was in that position went out on medical leave, was out for quite a while, and unfortunately is not going to be able to return. So now is an opportune time to make that adjustment so that we can look at getting someone into the position at the proper scale. When the last person was hired, they were hired at the same rate as the police captain would have been hired in and had been every time before that. So the reason it's up now is really a matter of, one, we knew early on it was going to have to be addressed, but now we're in a position to fill that position and would like the opportunity to correct it and move forward and get that position filled.
Okay. Andrew, Elizabeth, do you guys need, with that explanation?
I've got some more questions.
Okay.
I'm happy to continue
Well,
discussing.
yeah. Do you want to discuss it tonight, or, I mean, we can have another discussion. We do have the police chief and the fire chief here if we need to ask them questions as well.
I mean, I would like to ask some questions. I mean, I don't know if that.
Are you?
If at the end of that, I'll feel like, okay.
Yeah, ask some questions. Go ahead.
Yeah. So nobody currently graded in firefighter 2, or
No.
nobody's currently in that position.
No.
I guess in the past, what did we use that position as a promotional and to recognize some certification level? Is that correct? Or I don't remember why we had it.
Well, as it stands now, I believe, and Chief, please correct me if I'm wrong, ultimately the qualifications to meet that grade were pretty much identical to engineer. And now engineer and firefighter 1 are at the same grade. So it really doesn't have a use in that if you're going to recognize someone in a position based on certifications and qualifications, you have 2 ways to do that, but they would make the exact same amount and be in the same grade, and it's redundant in reality.
Yeah. Okay. There wouldn't be an instance where we want to be able to recognize that additional certification and investment that the firefighters made, but we don't have an engineer position open yet. And so we would want to have firefighter 2 available to move them up a grade. I mean, we haven't used it recently, I guess, so.
No, I think, one of the things we do is all of our firefighters, we prepare for the next rank. Engineer is a rank. They take a test, it's a competitive process. They're ranked, and then who does better in that process gets promoted, who prepares themselves to do that. So it's not just a matter of going and getting a certification. And I just think that having that, I think there's other ways that we can properly, I don't know, rewards not the right,
Address
certifications at a different level. But I think when you look at ranks through the rank structure, having something that, let's face it, getting promoted means something. And it's not just the money, it's means something in the department. And then paying somebody the same for just getting a certification without going through the process diminishes that greatly.
What's the progression from firefighter 1 to what's the next progression?
The next is there's just firefighter. Well, certification wise, so we just have a firefighter rank. But in the certification range, there's firefighter 1, which is a minimum, firefighter 2, which we require. And then there's, like for an engineer, they have to have an aerial certification, a pumping certification, they have to be an instructor. And then when you get to officer, there's fire officer 1, captains have to be fire officer 2s, and on up. So their certifications progress through the ranks. Not just firefighters, they have to become EMTs, advanced EMTs, they have to have, their rope rescue operations and technician certification, vehicle, hazmat operations and tech. So there's all sorts of certifications at the operations level, which is the basic, and then the technician level, which is the next grade up. But most of the folks get those operations level things at the firefighter grade, some technicians. And then as they move up, like engineers, we will prepare our engineers and we will get them fire officer 1. So when we have lieutenants positions open or the new shift captain, lieutenants will move up, but they're prepared for that next rank. So it's all about preparing somebody for the next step. But the firefighter 2 is just, it's not really, there's other ways to compensate people for certifications above the basics. And that's something we could talk about some other time.
Yeah. You're saying that if we used it like I'm suggesting, you're kind of like, and the way I'm thinking about it is you don't have an engineer position, but as we all know, you need to be prepared. And if you've trained somebody to be an engineer and they're ready, it would give you an opportunity. But then you have a firefighter 2, and it's the same grade. So then an engineer leaves or whatever, and you have a spot, and congratulations, you're an engineer, but you're staying right where you are, kind of thing.
Right.
Would be what it is.
And during that time, they would be making the same as an engineer without the responsibility
Yeah.
of an
Yeah.
engineer.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a lot of
And the
responsibility.
next one down is firefighter.
Right.
So there's nowhere to slot them in below that. So it's
Okay.
There's, with every rank, there's a higher level of responsibility that goes along with that rank. Our engineers are responsible for millions of dollars of equipment every day, and the safety of the people to get them to and from scenes, and the safety of the public while they're driving emergency to scenes. So there's a lot of responsibility there. And then it just goes up when you're an officer, you're responsible for that crew and the safety of the scene. So the responsibility goes up as we go on.
Okay.
Okay. And then the training officer, how long have we been advertising for that position?
We haven't.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is that something that you have plans to advertise, or is it waiting on hold for something?
Well, it's been, I haven't advertised it until we could get this taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
The spot's actually been vacant since the beginning. Well, he actually went off on medical leave in February, but found out in July that he couldn't return to work. So I've been without. He's my only other administrative, or they are my only other administrative position, and I'm ready to get that filled because I'm tired of
we've
doing both
been
jobs.
paying someone to handle the training functions in addition to their normal duties, but they haven't really been in a position to take up the administrative side of things. So he's been at a disadvantage there.
Okay.
And this would allow that to kind of happen?
It would.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure that the tool fits the solution. So we're behind, I guess, I'm guessing part of it is step 1 of that grade is probably not, you're not able to really competitively hire for this level at step 1. Is that
Correct. I think one of the things we look at is since the reorg has just started, we used to be lieutenants, but if you look at where the lieutenants were in their steps, they make more than who would be supervising them.
yeah.
It's,
So, but who you're hiring for this position is more than likely going to have many years of experience, correct?
well, that's one of the things too. This isn't an entry-level position. This is the number 2 person in the fire department.
Yeah.
This is the person when I'm out of town that, is acting in my stead. And we look for a person that's got years of experience, administrative experience. Training officer, to me, not diminishing the chief's job, but I think is the hardest job in the fire department because of all the responsibilities, the different trainings, the different certifications that they have to keep up themselves, plus keep track, make sure nobody in the department expires. We've got 2 openings right now, so we're going to be training 2 new people when we get some applications in for that. And then the extra added additional, responsibilities. It's quite the job.
Yeah.
It's quite the job. And for years, well, ever since I've been here, it's been parallel to the training officer in the police department. And as town manager said, the previous, when I started, who was training officer, was on the same pay scale as the police department.
Mm-hmm.
When we hired the most recent training officer, he was hired the same as the police department. Now, when that came out, we noticed that there was this problem, and we just needed to address it.
Is this going to create another problem? Because I'm looking at the pay scale and it doesn't have, if you move the captain training officer to the grade 10, the next position down is lieutenant at grade 8.
But
Is there going to be a problem with not having a grade 9 position?
Well, I think that, they're on, see, one of the differences is the captain at that level, they work a 40-hour week. They're like me, they work Monday through Friday, hopefully, unless you come up on a Saturday and Sunday on calls. But so that's why there's a little different. But one of the things down the road in your discussions we'll have to discuss, we created a shift commander position that we'll need to slot them in at some time. And how we handle that will be talk for another day.
If you recall, during the budget process, we discussed that the lieutenants now are so long tenured in their positions that their rank is changing to allow for this restructure, but it's not necessary for their pay to change. So then we have the lieutenants that will fill in that are in charge of Station 2, and then the additional engineers. So as we stand now, we can structure that within this and refine. As they retire out, that will create an opportunity to more formalize that structure within this pay scale.
And, when we look at the training captain's somebody that has knowledge, skills, and abilities on the training end, to properly train the folks on the fire department, make sure the training plans are done. We have a certain amount of training a year that's required, a lot, hundreds of hours. Make sure that's completed properly. Then on the administrative side, the volumes of paperwork that the state, through the EMS division and the firefighting commission, that they have the administrative skills to complete that and complete it properly because people's careers depend on it. And so it's a pretty hefty position. Both police and fire have, if they don't like paperwork, it's kind of the wrong job.
Okay. Do you have any more questions?
I guess my thought is just that I think I agree with it, but it's just moving up the grade is a more permanent thing, whereas maybe what we're really talking about here is the flexibility to hire a tenured person and recognize that, it's not necessarily tenure here in this case that's going to be, we can't be competitive hiring somebody who's been in fire training and everything for 10 plus years. at step one. It's the flexibility of being able to move to the right on the scale.
Mhm.
And the way we have set it up is, they're starting at 0 years, so they'd be step one. Well, maybe in this case, we need to provide that flexibility. I don't know if that's a better solution. That's something
Can you have a grade 9/10 so that depending on the person, it could be slotted in and it's grade
shouldn't
9?
be based on the person. It should be based on the needs of the position and the
Yeah.
position. So I don't necessarily like that solution, but I just want to make sure that that going from 9 to 10 is the right solution for the position long-term, not for anybody we might have in mind or anybody that we think of that we want to hire, rather than saying, well, the reality is the market for this position is step 6 is what Steve told us, basically, right? And we're telling Chief Mitchell he's got to hire at step 1. Well, that's going to be near impossible, especially for this kind of position where you're getting people that have been doing fire service and training for a long time, and you want somebody experienced. So, maybe it's simply the flexibility of being able to hire at step 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10. I don't know, because that's where our current person was somewhere in there, I imagine, and that was tenure of working here.
Well, and previously, I don't remember how long he had been here, but I think this year we have him, he was budgeted at step 4, was all.
Budgeted at step 4, but his real step would have been way at the end of the.
Would have been higher than that if we placed him according to where he should be.
Yeah, where he should be.
And that's another advantage to, if we do this, doing it now, that the difference between step 4 or 5 on scale on grade 9 and moving that on up to step 1 of grade 10 is, I think it's actually less than a couple dollars an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate what you're saying about having the flexibility to start them well on up to scale. But if we're gonna do that, it seems to make sense to take advantage of the opportunity and grade it properly when that would put us at about that grade 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
But they would be starting at grade 1, which is how it's really designed.
Yeah.
Well, it is a permanent kind of, change, and it's got a lot of impact. I can understand the reason that you'd want to have the person who's number 2 be in that grade. I'm a little concerned about the void that it leaves below that person, but I do see why you would want the grade to be 10 rather than 9. I mean, if you look, we have the fire and police chiefs at 1 grade, and then the next position down for police is a grade 10. The next position down for fire is a grade 9.
So
Yeah.
I guess let me ask this: is there a solution tonight where we don't necessarily have to? I know you want to move forward with the position, right, and be able to advertise it and be able to offer reasonable pay for competitive pay. So is there a solution where we could approve, like, hey, we're going to be either kind of step 1 of the higher grade or be moving to the right in what we're able to offer? We know one of those two is probably what we need to do, right? I think we probably.
Yeah, I mean, you can slot somebody
agree with
in
that.
up the
Yeah.
scale rather up
But
or
give us more time to investigate the longer term, like whether we're going to move up the whole pay grade up or just provide that flexibility for this hire,
I think you could do that, right?
so that you know, like you're going to be able to offer competitively.
I mean, to me, what you're suggesting gives the town manager the ability to suggest, based on, our person, knowledge, skills, abilities, and the ability to do the job. That, you know, whether you start somebody at market or wherever you think they ought to be in that section. And one thing, I look at budget impact. I know a lot of department heads don't really, they do look, but, you know, so one thing, we've had a salary savings since, you know, the beginning. So budget impact wise, it's not going to be a negative impact on the budget for the rest of the budget year, because we've had that salary savings. We haven't been, actually, yeah, since, you know, the beginning of the budget, we haven't been paying that. So that's a good thing. But I think if we were able to do that, you were able to authorize that, move them wherever we thought proper, and then that would help fill the position. And then, I mean, the ultimate is I'd like to see it bumped up to a 10, so that fixes the problem permanently forever. But I see where you're heading.
Yeah, you can put them at grade 9, slide them up the scale to whatever step would suit their level of experience. And then if you were to create a grade 10 for that position, then you would just slot them into the whatever step they fit
Right,
under
where they
grade
would-
10.
So if we moved it to a 10, then we would just,
Yeah, it's not,
Yeah.
hey, you're.
So I think
Wouldn't
what Andrew's
adjust their
saying is,
pay,
can
you
we
would adjust their
advertise it
step.
as
Yeah.
is and just slot the person on grade 9, step whatever where they fit, while we consider whether the position should move from grade 9 to grade 10? And I think that's what you're suggesting.
Well, is that one, I don't want to handicap your ability to go find a
I'm
great person.
concerned.
you know, what I look at is what I'm able to tell somebody they're gonna make.
And I'm concerned about.
I
the
mean, I
history.
want this, I would like to have this fixed. But, you know, I think you know, to get this filled, to be able to tell somebody they're gonna make X is a big deal. That's why I haven't listed this, because the pay for grade 9, step 1 is so low for that position
Mhm.
across the board, if you look at other departments. And I just haven't done it because it's like, we've got to do something else.
I don't want you to not be able to find somebody that's gonna fit what you need because of the wording or the semantics of this. I want to make sure that, I'm sure we want to make it so that when you are having those kind of conversations, that you can go out and recruit the best people. And I'm concerned that won't happen. I just want to, whatever we do, I want to do it quickly. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I don't want to drag our feet.
Yeah.
This has been dragging. And I feel like that the need for this position, the need for you to replace this person is not new. And I think that the folks that have the capacity to be somebody that you might want to fill the position with may look at this and think, I don't want to go there because we're dragging our feet. I just don't want to do that. So I want to be able to move forward as reasonably quickly as we can to provide you with the support that you need to fill the position effectively and to support the gentlemen that work and ladies that work for you already.
I have a question for Andrew, and that is, if we were to, you know, basically tell the chief, hire somebody based on the pay that person deserves, and we'll figure out the grade at some point. I'm wondering what information we need to be able to do that quickly, like Vicky has suggested, rather than
I
a
mean,
long
so
drawn out
I'm
process.
curious, like, something we can't solve tonight. What the data from the study suggested, why, and I know there's something suggested, why the market pay of the fire officer was one grade lower than the police officer.
Yeah.
Captain, fire captain and police captain. And is there reason to believe we are significantly different from that average that is in the market?
Mhm.
And there probably is, but I can't answer that without asking Steve, kind of, it could be something as simple as majority of municipalities, their police departments are larger than their fire departments, and we have kind of the opposite here. I don't know that, like I can't
I
speak
think
knowledgeably about
that's, I
that.
don't know about larger, but I think in most places they're fairly comparable
Comparable.
in size.
Mhm.
And just because of the annexation and the need for the additional station and all, fire department grew significantly. And, and as it's scaled now, you have the fire captain. It's not just about the police captain and the fire captain. When you look at it, you now have the fire captain, who is second in command of 26-person department, 27 department, and responsible for all the training, and a police lieutenant who, while extremely important position, is in charge of 3 people on their shift. And I've had a conversation with Chief Williams about this, and there's no negative impact on that side of things. It's not that we're diminishing any of those positions. It's just the relativity is just off.
This is
as it relates to us.
This is not a 53-hour. Yeah. Okay. This is not a firefighter lieutenant.
If we were to table this, we could ask Steve to join us somehow in the next meeting to answer some questions about why the grade was done the way it was. At some point, we were having MTAS come in and look at things too, but that's going to take a long time. So
Yeah, and
I
I
don't
think
think
they'll look at that in a vacuum too, as they'll look at fire, look at police.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think we can wait for that to get this position filled. But maybe in the next 2 weeks, we could have Steve join us.
So my first thing is, like, I would love to sort all that out, and that's why I wanted to table it. But to the extent that that hinders the ability to go fill the need that's there, like, okay, we can move on and deal with the consequences with whatever solution. But if we can come up with something where we are giving you the leeway you need to go hire a good person for the position at a reasonable rate and figure out those kind of almost semantics, right, later with discussion with Steve or whatever, to figure out whether we want to do the step or the move into the right, that would be what I would prefer.
Okay. Comments? You were about to say something. I think Susanna was too.
No.
Okay.
I was just going to say, if we have the latitude to look at a higher, at least up into the step 5 or so range, and have at least that latitude, and then working it out from there. And if a change is made, that person would move up a little bit from there.
Yeah, because if we brought them in at step 5, the way I see it, and then we decide really, yeah, it wasn't graded correctly, we need to move it to 10. They're gonna get a bump because we got to move them on to the whatever. You're not going to take away.
Because even if they move up to grade step 1, they're still going to get a little bit more bump.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that if we can have that latitude and move forward,
Is that enough? If it's what Boyd's suggesting, step 5.
we could go at least up to market.
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
even better.
Yeah. That seems fair. But I don't want to forget about this.
Yeah.
So we need to
No.
keep it on the
Oh,
front burner.
For sure.
I'll, before I make my grand departure, I will contact Steve and get this on his radar as well, so he can kind of do some follow-up and refresher work for himself.
Or
and-
even
and
just
see,
an email from him saying, hey,
Yeah.
here's what the differences were kind of in the study that
Yeah.
led to that difference for those 2
and
positions.
see if he can provide some, he may be able to do it via email or something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine
And if
with
not,
that.
see if he can, I think given the amount of time we spent on everything that he was involved with, I think he'd probably be willing to provide a little more time for us on
Okay.
our prior contract, so.
That seems like a good plan. So let's make sure it's on like the next agenda, at least to talk about it. If Steve doesn't have time yet, we can put it on the one after that, but it won't
Boyd, do you
get too
need
stale.
us to make a resolution tonight to provide that flexibility, or just to do a kind
If
of?
council can assure me there's consensus that we have that
Consensus.
latitude,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yes,
got it.
that's all I need.
yeah.
yes.
Thank you.
please, let's get, let's,
Yep.
Now, we had, just procedurally, I read the resolution. We had a motion to table, but that didn't have a second yet.
Oh.
We didn't have a motion to approve the resolution.
Okay.
So I can, I mean,
There is a motion to table, but you could make a second and act.
right, okay.
This is maybe too difficult, but I have no issue moving forward with the firefighter 2 removal. If we
Let's do
wanna
that.
separate
Let's do
out.
that next time. Let's
Okay.
table the
Yeah.
whole thing and then
Okay.
separate
Okay,
it
so
out.
can I just second your motion
Okay, yeah.
that's
Okay.
tabled, and then we can vote on that,
All
and
right.
then move forward?
Any discussion about motion to table the resolution? All right, sorry.
Sorry, just to be safe, as you say, some things tend to fall off the plate. It might not be a bad idea to table it to a specific meeting. Maybe
Table
not
it
the
to
next meeting, but
Yeah.
the second December meeting,
Okay.
and that
Okay.
way, it's for sure to get back on the agenda, at least
Mhm.
to see if you're ready to move forward.
I'm going to
Right.
revise my motion to table it to the next, I think that's long enough,
To the next
to the
meeting?
next meeting.
Okay. I
Are
will
you
s-
talking about the resolution as it currently is? Or are we going to separate out the firefighter 2 issue with the,
Well, we can always. Okay, I'll make a motion to table, to table the pay scale amendment resolution to next meeting, and to separate out the two pieces, which are firefighter 2, removal of the firefighter 2 position, and the captain training officer amendment.
To create two separate resolutions.
Two separate resolutions.
Can you do that?
That's a fun one, Carol.
Writing.
I was so clear.
say it again.
So let me read what I have, okay,
Yes.
if you don't mind. So I have a motion to table the pay scale resolution and to set and separate out the two pieces, the firefighter 2 and the captain trainee, and create two separate resolutions.
Yes, that's close enough.
Yeah.
That is what it's.
Not, I don't, yeah, to set, I guess, would be to set it at the next meeting and
So either
separate.
the 13th,
At next meeting? I
that
thought
what
it
you
was going to
wanted?
be two meetings.
Yeah,
2 meetings from now?
I
our
would say the
meetings in
next
December are
meeting,
the 13th and the 27th.
Right.
You want it on the 13th or the 27th?
13, yeah.
Let's do it the 13th.
Yeah, I mean, I think.
I mean, if we don't have the information by then, and Steve can't join us, then we can go to the next meeting, but this way it doesn't fall off of our radar at all,
Okay.
ever.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Because I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, so let's move it to the 13th, and that way we can always move it again if
Yeah.
we don't have the
Okay.
information we need. All
I
right,
got it.
Okay,
Thank you.
do we need to
So-
second that
You need to
that,
second the amendment.
Okay.
yeah.
I'll second that
Awesome.
motion.
okay. Now, I'll ask if we need any further discussion, hopefully not. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No? Okay, that passes. So we will be talking about this again soon, and in the meantime, we'll hopefully get some information from Steve to discuss further. Our last resolution, which was added by amendment today, is a resolution approving an employment agreement between the town of Signal Mountain and Mitchell Moore and authorizing the mayor to execute said agreement. I did remember something I asked Harry to help me remember. I actually wrote it down and brought it. So if everybody had a chance to read the draft agreement, and did you bring another one, or is this the new one?
Sherry was able to put the new one into the
Okay.
packet, so the
All right,
one
thank you.
everybody's got.
Okay. The original one, if you read it before now, had one error that needed to be corrected, and that was regarding mileage. So I'll go ahead and just kind of summarize what Mr. Moore and I had discussed. First, he asked to be paid based on the, basically the same rate that our current town manager has, pay, hourly rate, and retirement benefits rolled into one. So so he's essentially paid the same. That's part of it. Then the other thing is he could have asked for mileage. He's driving 66 miles each way from Athens, Tennessee. Rather than asking for mileage every day, he said that 2 days would be fine. He just wants to cover his expenses. So 2 days per week mileage. So that'd be 66 times 2 round trip for 2 days. So that came out to 264 miles. The original proposal had not doubled that for a biweekly pay. So we changed it so that it's 2 times 264, so that it represents 2 weeks. That's how he's paid every 2 weeks. So essentially, he's getting 2 days of mileage per week. In addition, we talked about and proposed that if he needs to spend the night during our nightly meetings on Mondays, our Monday meetings, that we would provide overnight accommodations. And if there's inclement weather that makes it too difficult for him to drive back, then we would provide overnight accommodations for that. And Carrie Lansford had suggested that we try to find accommodations on the mountain, so if that's a possibility, we could look into that too. She sent an email, I think, to all the town council members about that. So basically, that's what it is. He has health insurance. I guess he would be an employee, so he would be offered the benefits of health insurance, but he said that he would not take them. But okay, all right.
He's full-time. He's working 40 hours a week. He would come in as a regular full-time employee.
Is there a waiting period for health insurance for a new
I
hire?
don't recall. I don't think so.
Are they independent?
Well, regardless, he doesn't need it and has already stated that he would decline.
Yeah. It's actually, though, I mean, it's in the contract as being offered because it's a town benefit, but he said he didn't need it and wouldn't take it. So I think that's pretty much the discussion. The start date, I had asked him if he could start in case we wanted him to have some time to talk with Boyd about things, kind of get acclimated before Boyd was gone. He said he was available. He also told me, though, that he is going to be out for a surgery on the 1st and 2nd. Not a major thing, but wouldn't be able to be here on the 1st and 2nd. So if he started on the 29th, he could work 2 days, right? Am I wrong about November? How many days in November?
30.
Okay, thank you. 2 days in November, and then he would come in the Monday to start working full-time. So that's pretty much what this agreement puts together, and we need to obviously vote on it. I have no power to authorize that for him, so that's my proposal. If anybody wants to suggest anything different, then please do, and we'll talk about that.
Well, I got a motion to approve.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All right. Thank you. One thing for discussion is we do need to write in the date that he'll come in, he'll start. So I suggest Monday, and then he'll work Monday and Tuesday, and then he'll be out Wednesday and Thursday, and
Well, I think it's good for him to be off on Friday too.
Okay.
It gives,
that's
if you're
towards last
comfortable with
day,
having
yeah.
some conversations with him at the beginning of the week, and then
Well,
it gives, yes,
so I didn't mean to interrupt.
no,
What the agreement provides is that from November 29, 2021, Mr. Moore will have a 5-day orientation period with his duties as interim town manager to begin December 4th. We need to remove the 5-day and make it 2 or 3, what?
2 days.
So what Elizabeth has proposed is he works Monday and Tuesday, and then he comes in, and that's it for that week. And he'll work with Boyd and get acclimated to the job, and then be off Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then he'll start Monday as
Could-
the interim.
Could you just add to that, subject to his availability? And then he works what days he works.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's good.
Because if he doesn't work, he won't get paid.
yeah,
Okay,
Would simplify it.
yep, thank you.
okay. So we'll add that. We'll write in the date, November 29th. Anything else to add or change? Okay. All right, so we have a motion and a second. We're amending the agreement slightly. We had a motion to,
Do we need to amend the motion?
yeah, I was going to say, do you want to amend the motion to have it include the provision that he'll have a 5-day orientation period to work the days that he's available,
Subject to his.
subject to his availability?
Yes.
That's
Oh,
in-
yes,
that's in
I'm sorry, you're
paragraph
looking at me, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. That's in paragraph 3.
Yes, I would like to modify, it, yes, to, subject to his availability.
All right, and
Make
we'll
that
write
modification.
in 29 in the blank, and then add that one section at the end, subject to his availability. So as modified, do we have a second? Who seconded?
Wait
Us.
a minute, let me
Okay.
make it even more confusing.
Okay,
The insurance benefits. The agreement says that Signal Mountain agrees to provide, and he shall be entitled to the same level of
Yeah.
insurance benefits as other employees. He's gonna decline it, I understand that, but I don't know that we want to agree to provide it to him if that's not required.
But if it says as other employees, short-term employees aren't,
can we just say as other
And I don't know that
full-time?
he falls into that category. I don't want to misspeak here. I mean, he
Yeah,
may
I-
be fully entitled to everything.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, could we just write in, he's a full-time
Well-
temporary employee, so could we write in that he's entitled to, the same level of insurance benefits provided to other full-time temporary
Temporary.
employees?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, good. The same level of insurance provided to other full-time,
Temporary,
I don't want to say short-term, temporary.
yeah, full-time
but then
temporary.
I think, I'm sorry to make this more complicated. Do we need to confirm what insurance is available to that category of employees? In the personnel committee
Well.
or in the personnel policy?
I mean, I don't know how we could not provide him the benefits that are available to that position.
Well, I think what Elizabeth's suggesting is that it seems to be unclear, so we should probably make sure that it is.
Well, I mean, right, I understand
As a-
that.
yeah.
However,
Not,
whatever it is,
Yeah.
as unclear as it may be, what it is, whatever it is would be available to him because he's a full-time temporary
Can I
employee.
make another suggestion completely on this? Can we
Yes.
remove this section since he's already said he's not interested in insurance benefits? Go
I
ahead.
think by law, we're required
Okay.
to offer, if they regularly work over 32 hours a week, we have to offer it, and then that's way it establishes that we have made that offer. And,
Okay.
if we change provide to offer,
Right.
is that?
Agrees to offer, and Mr. Moore shall be entitled to the same level of insurance benefits. You could, after that word, put required by law and provided to other full-time temporary
How
employees.
about Signal Mountain agrees to offer Mr. Moore the same level of
benefit.
insurance benefits provided to other full-time temporary employees in the town of Signal Mountain?
Is that okay?
I like that. Other than now we have to amend the motion again.
Right.
We're getting
So-
on a roll.
Susanna?
Okay. So we're modifying this to read, do you want me to modify the insurance
That's section 7.
Section
Section 7,
Section
section
7
3.
to read, Signal Mountain agrees to offer Mr. Moore the same level of insurance benefits provided to other full-time temporary employees in the town of Signal Mountain.
Mhm.
So that's the second. And then Section 3, we modified it so that his start date is the 29th, 2021. Subject to his availability would be the phrase added to the end of that section. Okay.
I'll second that.
Well, let's make sure there's no other
Yeah.
changes. All right, are there other changes? Okay. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I was just looking at the mileage. It's not represented in, yeah, it's done, right, okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second, no further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All, anyone opposed? No? All right, so that's taken care of. I guess I will contact Mr. Moore and tell him that we can email him an agreement tomorrow. Is that okay, Gary? Tomorrow?
Our office is closed tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
I might be able to do this myself, but I
Okay.
don't want to promise. I think I can. Yeah, tell him we'll get it to him.
Okay. All right, thank you.
This is simple. Even I can do it.
You send me a Word version and I'll take care of it, or an Adobe version, I'll fix that too. Okay, well, that takes care of our resolutions. There are no ordinances. Discussion, we have a number of items for discussion. I'll start with the Water Department on-call procedure recommendation. I didn't see,
I didn't see
am I
anything.
missing that?
I saw it in the packet online.
It is,
Yeah, it's not in this
I
packet,
think
I
it's
don't think.
towards the rear of your current packet.
Okay.
The memo from Adam to me on
Yes.
town letterhead.
All right, yeah, it's gotten shuffled.
And unfortunately, he ended up being out this week. But this is a relatively self-explanatory. It's just a request to change their on-call procedures. The current process has been in place for many years with no change to compensation or anything, and they have guys that are required to be on call, and if they're on call, they have to basically be at home, ready to respond. Can't go out, they're pretty limited in the freedom to use their, what would otherwise be off time. So this is his request to modify the procedures. Basically, in the past, we had two people on call and they split up at $40.50, but only one person ultimately took call on a regular basis. So that was corrected, and that they gave that person that amount. But still, when you think of an entire week of not having free use of your off time, that is extremely minimal. So his request is to change that to 4 hours at time and a half for a week of on-call, and then if you're called in, you'll get a 2-hour minimum. And then with that level of compensation, he anticipates more willingness to participate, and it could rotate around the different employees, so it wouldn't be as much of a burden on one or two employees.
Sounds fair.
Move to approve?
Well,
A
there's
second.
It's just
Oh,
a
I-
discussion.
Yeah.
This is just discussion.
Oh, never mind. I'm all ready to go.
Um,
This is good.
Yeah,
One
really.
thing I
Yeah.
would just like to see is, I know it's difficult, but if we can use the past 3 months or something as an example, had we used the new policy versus the old policy, what would be the budgetary impact? I agree completely. This is a way better way to recognize what people are having to go through, but I do think we need to understand the budgetary impact before proceeding.
Is my understand, I guess maybe we do. If people are called out to be on call, they're going to be on call regardless. It's just going to give more opportunity for other people to be willing to do it. Is that right? Am I wrong? To have
No, I
people
think it's a
willing?
combination of being more fair in the compensation for the
So
dedication of their free time to being available.
prior to this, you could, for an example, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, you could, let's say you took vacation at the beginning of the week and you're called in on Sunday to fix a water main, you would be paid normal time to go fix that water main.
Which is not fair.
Here, we're saying it's time and a half, it's
Yeah.
overtime, but we don't care what,
Oh,
is that right?
no,
No,
it seems
that-
like you're paid
the-
$40.50 during the whole week,
Right.
right, that you're on
That's
call.
just for being
For
on
the
call.
week, yeah.
Right.
Right.
So from
But then you
9
paid
to
them
5
regular
and
time.
ever
That was a
extra
premium.
time.
And then you pay, you still have to pay for that time. You can't not pay for it just because you paid $40.50.
I think, yeah,
This-
right.
yeah.
But when you start in the morning, instead of your regular pay, you're being paid $40.50 for all hours worked during that week, right?
No.
Including overtime?
So if this week, this is Monday, and this week, I'm the on-call person. So in the evenings, I have to be at home, have to be available, can't have adult beverages, really. I mean, there's a lot that
Yeah.
you just can't, you have to be available.
Mhm.
For the entire week of doing that, I get paid $40.50, period.
Oh, you just get $40 for being on call.
$40.50.
Oh,
What
I
if you
thought
get
they,
called in?
When you get called
When you get
in,
called in.
then you would get a 2-hour minimum call out, which is pretty much what they're.
But it gets
they're
rated at whatever those additional hours would be in our normal framework.
Right.
So if you did take vacation earlier in the week,
Well,
and you were
holiday.
out for, you took Monday vacation, you got called in on Sunday, or sorry, Saturday, you would be paid regular time for your Saturday work.
okay.
And this might not necessarily affect that. It won't change the FLSA. I mean, that's the way that works. You get paid for overtime when you have physically been at work over 40 hours. So it could still impact that. But the fact that, because it doesn't say you will continue to get a 2-hour minimum at what your rate should be. It doesn't automatically make that overtime.
Oh, I guess it's only when you get to 4 hours of call out.
The 4 hours is what would change the $40.50 for the entire week, what you would get paid now. What you would get paid with this change is the equivalent of 4 hours at time and a half.
Oh, okay. All
So
right.
instead of
That's what
$40.50.
That's what your weekly
I'm misunderstanding
compensation
this.
for call out would be.
Okay.
When it's
What is
your
the
turn.
2-hour minimum per call out then?
Pardon?
That's 2-hour minimum per call out means that,
That is if you actually have to come out and it takes you
30
an
minutes.
30
hour
minutes.
to do it, you're gonna get paid 2 hours.
okay, all right,
And that's always been pretty
Okay.
standard.
all right.
The real difference is for you willing to stay at home and be available and ready to go for an entire week, $40.50 is not reasonable
see.
compensation. And the guys make different rates, but for that week that you're available, you'll get what is equivalent to 4 hours at time and a half. And that's your call out premium.
Do you have any idea what the minimum and maximum amounts would be, 4 hours times 1.5? Or does it, I mean, we don't have to
Looking at
know.
it right now.
Significantly more probably than
Yeah,
$40.50.
it's significantly above that, but I don't know off the top of my head what their rates would be. Well, let's assume, we just happen to have this handy pay scale that we can step with.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
A laborer, let's move to a skilled laborer that's a step 3. Would end up being
$110 about.
Yep. 109.38 for the week of on call.
Certainly seems more fair.
With the take-home vehicle policy, or like the person on call having the take-home vehicle, this is one vehicle that already exists in the town that is just going to be shared between.
Yes, they would rotate. They'd be assigned there's basically one cell phone that would rotate with the person that's
Okay.
on call, and the vehicle,
That's already
whoever's on
existing.
call, that's who has it that
Okay.
week.
Okay.
I don't need this. I mean, I know the budgetary impact, so.
You know the budgetary impact.
Yeah, I misunderstood when I was requesting that, what this actually entailed. So
Yeah.
we're really just changing the premium. We're extending the 2-hour minimum to all times, but I mean, that should,
If you paid $110
We're
extra
already
per
paying
week,
them, and
it's $5,200, $57.20 a
emergencies
year.
after hours, so that's pretty much the same policy. And it makes sense to me.
All right, so anybody think this would not be a good idea?
No, I think it's a good idea.
Now, can we request this be put on next week in a resolution?
I'm sorry?
Could we have this in a resolution next week?
Sure.
Okay.
Or week after next.
Yeah, sorry.
Next
Next
meeting.
meeting.
That's the easy way to say it.
Next meeting, please.
Yep.
Okay, now we have an update on the email transition. Sam?
Yeah, I can make this fairly quick. So the latest is we are planning to transition not this coming weekend, but the following weekend. It'd be December 4th and 5th over that weekend, so as to minimize the impact to everyone just during daily operations. Have a meeting with Mr. Petty tomorrow and a couple of our staff just to kind of finalize everything. We've already been working with Dell. Those licenses should be active at any point in the next couple of days. We're just making sure we've got all the information to them that they need. So we are very close. We're hoping in the next couple of weeks to have that up and running. I'm trying to send out information to all the department heads so that they can let their people know what that's looking like and how they'll be affected, how they can prepare for it. Hoping to have all those, any other questions we've got answered tomorrow so that I can get them all the accurate information, but should be in the next couple of weeks. We are excited to move forward. So,
Yeah.
y'all have any questions about it, or?
Thank you for so much
Sounds
for your
good.
work.
Well, we wanted to hear. All right, good deal. Board appointments. What I would like to do, rather than discussing them now, is since we just got this information about who's available and applications and things like that, is maybe to take the next few weeks while we have this stuff and read it over and kind of get a better idea of what we've got, and then have a discussion at our next meeting on the 13th. That works for everybody?
Yeah.
Works for me.
There is, I did see that there were still a couple of committees that we didn't have enough applicants to fill, and so I'm wondering if we don't ask if there's another call out on social media and maybe another email blast soliciting more applications, and then maybe even have them emailed to us prior to the next meeting so we can consider those as we consider these.
And there is one change to the library board document that we need to make, and that would be that Treasurer Edward Bergen is not on there now, so we need to just put a line. Right now,
Okay.
it doesn't say he's declined his reappointment or that he's.
Just not on there?
He's resigned, so we need to.
Oh, he's
add-
resigned.
Yeah, isn't that correct? Karen left, yes. Yeah, Karen left. I caught it, and so we need to, that's a third, that we need to fill that position in the library board.
Okay.
Documents and stuff from somebody that's been filling in? Is that
Right.
just a temporary?
It's a
kind of thing?
temporary,
I
yes.
gotcha, okay.
Well, and I think, yes, but I know that the actual physical person, we need to add, so we have another person that needs to be put in.
I also met Mary Scott Norris tonight. I don't know if anybody else met her. She was telling me that there's no council liaison for the historical committee, and she would like one.
Oh, what? Thought that was me.
Is it? Well,
I
I'm
don't know.
sorry. I'm sorry. It is. It does say that, yes.
It could be me. but
Okay,
I've
she
never
says there
heard
was
from-
no, I didn't even look
Yeah,
at
no,
it.
I'm there, but I
Okay.
have not been.
So we just need to get you information about when they have meetings, because it may be that
Correct.
you're just not getting the
Right, because I haven't
info.
heard, yeah, I
Okay.
have not received any information about meetings.
All
But I'm
right.
happy to
Who-
attend.
I don't know who
if
does that. Like, who would tell you there's meeting? Who's the
I don't
chair?
know. I actually thought, when I was reading through this stuff, I thought, oh, it's interesting that I haven't heard anything. I know the condemnation board doesn't meet a lot,
Yeah.
but I didn't know about the historical.
And that's, real quick on the note on the applicant on that, does the applicant for the condemnation board need to be a town resident? Because it says resident / realtor, but it seems like if it's a resident slot, that it should be a resident, correct?
I think on that one, they are required to be residents, but I'll have to double check. There are several that allow a
Yes.
few members to be non-residents, but I don't recall that one off
And
the
I
top of my head.
didn't have the strong feeling that it would allow for a non-resident on the condemnation board when I read it. But, so then we would need to qualify that candidate, because they checked it, they checked that they were, but looking at their address, they are not in Signal Mountain 1 or 2 voting precinct. They are in Mountain Creek 3. So, again, if we could just kind of, I think that's the one. But we just need to make sure that, he's properly qualified, because it does have a residency requirement.
It looks like Karen is the staff contact for the historical committee. Sam, would you mind tomorrow just asking Karen to make sure she's got Vicky on her email list when she sends out emails? I guess that's who would do it, right? She would send out emails for meetings? Okay. Okay, thank you.
And I'll reach out as well.
Okay, cool.
And just as far as the condemnation board, let's say, 5 voting members, as follows: council, chief fire chief, and building official, as well as 3 residents of town, 1 of which are being given and 1 of which.
Yeah.
All that's 6.
So we would just need to verify, or like make sure that that applicant is qualified. He's given the address, I don't think, but I don't want to have the final word on that.
Okay,
So,
all right. All right, so we'll talk about board appointments in more detail at our next meeting.
okay.
So I'll paraphrase REO Speedwagon. They said last song, people. I'm going to say last manager's report, people, from Boyd.
I will keep it quite brief.
Okay, fair enough.
I want to let you guys know that on the meeting of the 13th, you've asked previously, and I have arranged representative of WWTA will be here to give you guys an update on how things are going there. They're also scheduling a public information meeting on the 16th that will be held in the cafeteria at the MAC. They're looking at financing some projects on the mountain, and that requires public information meetings, and they'll be conducting those as well.
What time is that at the MAC?
6 o'clock, I believe.
I'm sorry, what day was that? I'm sorry.
The date?
Yeah,
16th,
thank you, sorry.
and they'll be here on the 13th to give an overview of that. We did late today get the documents for the bank signatures and all of that, but didn't have the resolution prepared, so we'll have that on the meeting of the 13th as well. In the meantime, between when Mitch starts and those are done, there are obviously plenty of signatories that can handle that, so that'll be on that meeting. And I guess beyond that, really just want to express what an honor it has been to work in the various capacities with town. Privilege to do so. We say it all the time, but and I have worked to make sure that the people that need to know that I mean it when I say that the staff that we have here is what makes this town what it is, and the work that they do is second to none. Our staff in general, and specifically at the administrative level, under department heads, are among the best in the business, bar none. And I hope everyone understands the spirit in which this is offered. That whoever comes in with that realization and gives them the respect and the trust that they are absolutely deserving, and allows them to continue to do that outstanding job that they've done for me and made my job so much easier. And I will leave it at that.
Well, thank you, and thanks for those words. I know your department heads appreciate hearing it, and we agree with you on their being so qualified and so good at what they do. Does anybody have any questions for Boyd? Who I did when you were talking about the bank signatory documents, I was curious who is December?
I am.
And then do we start all over again in January? I forget. Has everybody gone once except for Elizabeth?
I don't have any months.
Right, you'll be
But-
January.
Well, maybe I can make a deal with you.
Okay, we can.
Because
we
I'm
can
out
do-
of town, I'm had a last minute trip, so I'll be out of town from December 11th until the 20th.
Well,
So,
I will not be able to sign until apparently after the 13th, but then I'm good to go.
yeah,
Right, so one of us can
Yep.
pick up
Yeah.
the slack when you're gone.
thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely.
Apologies. It's
Let us know, and then we'll start with Elizabeth on January.
No,
Right,
but
right.
Yeah.
December
Yeah.
13th.
Yeah,
We're going to do a resolution on the
Right.
13th, and then I'll be all legal.
yeah, the rest of us will pick up the
Mitchell
slack.
and
Yeah,
Elizabeth.
right.
Just, you'll, please remind me, if you could send an email to us just to say, hey, we
Yeah.
can pick up this date, we'll do it.
I will,
All right.
I will do it.
Maybe we
Um,
can just
if-
pass a sheet around at the next meeting, January through December, whatever, and
Yeah.
pick our months for the year.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds good.
One thing I thought to bring up, and a couple of times tonight, it looked like we may be pushing things to that second December meeting. But I just thought I would question often that second December meeting is one that council tends to try to avoid if
It's
possible.
on the
So
27th.
if
Did we
that's
push anything
going
to
be
that?
the
I think
case,
we-
it's maybe something you want to give some consideration
I
to.
was-
It is
I
the
was
week
thinking
of
about that.
Christmas.
Yeah, I was thinking about that when we moved Andrew's resolution or
Yeah.
motion to amend or to table, we moved it to the 13th,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah, if there was anything else, we'll have to talk about it on the 13th that we moved. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure who will do this, but on the 13th, hopefully we'll know what needs to be done on the 27th, so we can decide if we can
Yeah.
cancel that meeting, if we should.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Other business, anyone have any? Communications and reports from the mayor and council, reports from committees or boards.
We had a library board meeting, but everything that really we talked about, it was in the packet, so.
Okay. All right. I don't believe there's, anybody else has anything? All right, next meeting is on December 13th.